on the Lakeshore, 76 in Grand Rapids. I'm Chuck Latour. This is Wood Radio News. Public health leaders meeting in Grand Rapids today talking about the opioid crisis. Michigan ranks number 10 nationally when it comes to opioid-based prescriptions, and we are 18th in the number of overdose deaths. Former U.S. Attorney Patrick Miles, among a group of people working on that, he tells Wood TV there's no easy solution.
We started addressing this 2013. We saw this epidemic where prescription painkillers, opioid painkillers, were being abused. People were getting addicted to those. And then when they run out of that supply, they were chasing the same high, which is heroin.
3 Michigan State University football players, Donnie Corley, Josh King, and Demetric Vance, have now been charged with various degrees of criminal sexual conduct. They've been kicked off the football team. MSU's head coach Antonio speaks about the
and escape themselves in a position did not live up to the standards we have outlined for this program. Sexual assault has no place in this.
Antonio also wants to show concern for the woman who was victimized as well as her family. Our top national story, the government has arrested a federal contractor accused of leaking an NSA report on Russian hacking before the election. The arrest marks the first alleged leaker under President Trump to face criminal charges. Legal analyst Andrew Cohen doubts this is going to dissuade future leakers.
The feds hope that this arrest will deter the countless administration officials and contractors who are leaking information to the media, but there's no reason to think that's going to happen. At least it never has happened in the history of the Republic, which really is a history of leaking about details of government. The story here really is what was leaked and how it impacts the politics of the investigation into Russia's involvement in the last election.
On Wall Street, the Dow is off 25 points at 21,158. S&P is off by 3. NASDAQ is up by about 1.5. Tiger baseball on your radio. Tigers host the Los Angeles Angels tonight. 6:45, the pregame on Wood Radio. Wood Radio News Time is 3:01 with team coverage of traffic and weather together on the ones.
Crashes, Holland, 31 and 8th Street, still backing up both sides, happened just over an hour ago. Northeast, Leonard Street and Plymouth, crash and the cleanup. Leonard still closed from Fuller to College. Grand Rapids Freeway's construction, northbound 131 jams up as you're entering the S-curve. Bumper to bumper, stop and go. The patch crew that's in the way is just past the Ford 196, but before Leonard Street. Their goal is to get to Ann Street, but right about now it's in the schedule, so they're going to quit. So far, they're still there, and it's backing up onto the ramps from Ford 196 to eastbound and westbound. And by the way, both eastbound and westbound, Ford Freeway off ramps to Ottawa Avenue now closed. Close to East College, you could use Fuller or Lane on the west side. This report is service of Yamaha.
Not all the news these days is good, but not knowing is not an option. That's why I turn on Wood Radio News first thing in the morning and keep coming back all day. Real news.
ignite even more terror. Joel Edgerton, Christopher Abbott, Carmen Ejoga, and Riley Keough star. Based on a true story is Megan Levy, an autobiographical drama about the bond between a young Marine and a combat dog during the Iraq War. Together, they saved countless lives during the over 100 missions until fate intervenes and threatens their partnership. Cade Mara, Ramon Rodriguez, Tom Felton, Bradley Whitford, and Edie Falco star. And the summer of sequels and reboots continues with a new version of The Mummy, starring Tom Cruise. An Egyptian princess, though long dead and buried, returns to life in the present day and threatens the world with her supernatural powers. Annabelle Wallace, Sophia Boutella, Jake Johnson, and Courtney B. Vance also star in this horror remake/reboot. Still in theaters are Wonder Woman, Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Baywatch. And that's your weekend box office preview on iHeartRadio.
Okay, son, our third base coach tugged his ear, then tapped his shoulder. The squeeze play is on.
Now he's scratching his backside, Dad. What's that mean?
I'm not sure, son. I think he's calling for a hit and run. Severe weather around West Michigan has its own sun, and nobody knows him like Wood Radio. So listen for updated forecasts to keep you and your family safe. News Radio with 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Short 77 is the official weather station. Next news at 3.
collusion was responsible for. So it's gone on for thousands and thousands and thousands of hours with no evidence. And the media has been literally wetting their pants in anticipation of what James Comey might suggest on Thursday. Because after all, the New York Times leaked an article, and in the article, we find out that James Comey in January had met with with President Trump, and in January wrote himself a memo, and the memo suggested that Trump was trying to get him to stop the investigation and obstruct justice in the General Flynn case by saying, well, I just hope this ends for the guy. I just hope it's over. He's, probably saying something to the effect, this guy suffered so much. Not saying to stop it. And as a matter of fact, James Comey, 4.5 months later, said nobody's ever tried to get him to obstruct justice. Nobody. Here's what he said in May.
If the Attorney General or senior officials at the Department of Justice opposes a specific investigation, can they halt that FBI investigation?
In theory, yes.
Has it happened?
Not in my experience, because it would be a big deal to tell the FBI to stop doing something that without an appropriate purpose. I mean, they give us opinions that we don't see a case there, and so you ought to stop investing resources in it. But I'm talking about a situation where we were told to stop something for a political reason. That would be a very big deal. It's not happened in my experience.
Not happened in my experience. Not my experience. It would have been a big deal to tell the FBI to stop. He said that on May 3rd. He met with President Trump in January. And whoever the unnamed source to the New York Times was never got it right. Now, here's why this is important. This just broke about 30 minutes ago on ABC News. And what have I been telling you? I've been saying there's no way Comey can say what everybody thinks in the media. about the president's intent. Instead, he is there to share his concerns about his liberal agenda. Felonies, him laying out a case of Hillary committing felonies, and him deciding, and it's not even his role to decide. We even have a process for recusal in the case of the Attorney General, who met on the plane with Bill Clinton just days before she decided, Loretta Lynch, to let the Clintons off the hook. So Comey decides to just go out there and say, well, we'll clear her anyway. That's not his job. That's not his function. That's not his role. Never has been. So, anyway, he's not going to, Congress, make these accusations. But he will tell the committee what made him uneasy and why he felt the need to write a memo. Well, I want to know, did he write other memos? Did he write memos about Hillary? Is he just going to selectively leak the Trump memo? Did he write memos in his time with Barack Hussein Obama? Did he, some legal experts telling ABC News that Trump's requests are detailed in the memo, which ABC nor the New York Times has seen, could meet the legal definition of obstruction. It's not the legal definition. What he said in May was incontrovertible, unequivocal that nothing happened with the Trump meeting. And the DOJ never told Comey of concerns before axing him. But it's the same thing with, by the way, the Deputy Attorney General, what's his name, Rosenstein, well, he said he was going to quit until somebody interviewed Rosenstein. The Washington Post, like the New York Times, unnamed sources, they got that wrong. And just like they got wrong, well, just before Comey left, he had requested more money for the Russia investigation. Well, that didn't happen either, according to McNabe, who replaced Comey. This is just crap. All of this, and your media, what do they focus on? I'll play it later in the break. Let's see. All right, places, everybody, places. Young children, you get in front, and please, no fidgeting. Please, no fidgeting. Okay, ready? Fake news. No. Hold your placards here so we can see your face in the placard that bashes Trump.
This is CNN.
Fake news. 3, 2, 1, action. Of course, their hard-hitting reporting on Trump gets 2 scoops of ice cream. Everyone else gets 1 scoop of ice cream. Or their hard-hitting analysis of the president, does he have a hand phobia? Or the president, does he have a fear of stairs phobia? And a fear of ramp phobia? I'll play with this later in the program.
preserve the wonderful fresh tastes that come out of America's garden. It's like capturing a bit of the sun itself. My family has a Harvest Right freeze dryer. We use it to preserve garden fresh strawberries, tomatoes, and corn. We even freeze dry our favorite home-cooked meals. We love our home freeze dryer and know you will too. To learn more, go to harvestright.com or call 800-511-4113. That's harvestright.com or 800-511-4113.
It's the biggest party of the summer. B93 Birthday Bash 25.
Presented by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Jay, going!
Hi, this is Joe Diffie. Happy birthday, B93.
And more.
B93 Birthday Bash 25.
Live the experience firsthand.
Find the next free ticket location at B93.com.
Do you enjoy having the latest technology? Then visit Retpillow Paints. Now, I know what you're thinking. Paint and technology aren't usually connected. But Benjamin Moore Paint at Retpillow uses groundbreaking technology to create better paint that really turns out. In fact, Benjamin Moore Paint goes so far beyond your expectations, it kind of makes you wonder, is it still paint?
press reports claiming today. The NSA report shows vote machine hacking. That's not true. The report claims attempts to phish voter registration outfits. What also is missing from this, remember the WikiLeaks Vault 7 release? Has anyone forgotten that the CIA has tools to put the fingerprints of any of their work onto any other country that they desire? You don't know in the end where any of this comes from. How is a 25-year-old contractor have access to top secret information? I have a take on this that I believe is very different than what you're going to hear. By the way, NBC News points out most of these NSA analysts are hired fresh out of high school. And the leaked NSA report does not support the Democrats' claim that Russia rigged the vote. And we'd already been told, elsewhere and otherwise, no votes were impacted. Just like we've been told, there's been no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. This is now a mass media psychosis. And I'm telling you what it's rooted in. They don't want this president to succeed. They don't want this president. They would like to stop his agenda from ever being implemented. And if possible, they would like to overturn the results of an election, a freely elected president. And they want to damage everybody around the president or that even likes the president. I'll explain when we get back.
This is West Michigan's breaking news, weather, and traffic, and the home of Detroit Tigers baseball. News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM. Depend on it.
Good afternoon. It is 3:30. 75 on the Lakeshore, 77 in Grand Rapids. I'm Chuck Latura. This is Wood Radio News. Our top local story. 3 Michigan State University football players have been charged with criminal sexual conduct in connection with an incident that occurred on campus in January. Players involved. Hospital. It is believed that he acted alone. Detroit Tiger baseball tonight. Tigers take on the Los Angeles Angels. 6:45 pregame. Wood Radio News time is 3:31. We have team coverage of traffic and weather together on the ones.
Jam up, northbound 131, crash at Hall Street. Left and center lanes blocked, leaving only the far right lane, but there's a lot of crash cars, including a car with a trailer, over on the right shoulder, which is very narrow because of the access road. So we are back to solid to 28th Street and building pretty quickly towards 36th Street. Now, when you get past that, you rotate up to and into the S-curve, and then just before the Ford, it starts to jam up. Pass through was working earlier today. Was supposed to clear by 3, and at about 3:20, caller said, no, they're still there, blocking the lane. It is still back up and ran from
printing projects. What's more, the turnaround time for large printing projects is now even shorter than before. Now for small projects, engineering, supply, and imaging, along with River City Reproductions, are the area's premier source for Xerox small format printer sales and service. So whether it's business cards, a 4x8 banner, or anything in between, the power of two is now even more powerful. River City Reproductions and engineering, supply, and imaging. Large or small, just one call.
Recommendations about when it's time for your baby to have their own room. When did your baby move out of your room? That's our Keyboard World Buzz. Vote through 5 a.m. at facebook.com/woodradio.
Else does. America deserves to know the truth about Congress.
First, we cannot say they did not change any vote tallies or anything of that sort.
Do you have any evidence that Russia's cyber actors changed vote tallies in the state of Michigan?
No, I do not, but I would highlight we're a foreign intelligence organization, not a domestic intelligence organization. So it would be fair to say we are probably not the best organization to provide a more complete answer.
How about the state of Pennsylvania?
No, sir.
The state of Wisconsin?
No, sir.
State of Florida?
No, sir.
The state of North Carolina?
No, sir.
The state of Ohio?
No, sir.
So you have no intelligence that suggests or evidence that suggests any votes were changed?
I have nothing generated by the National Security Agency.
Director Comey, do you have any evidence at the FBI that any votes were changed in the states that I mentioned to Admiral Rogers?
No.
All right, that was Clapper. That was Comey. And who was the other one? Admiral Rogers. No evidence at all. No evidence of collusion, no evidence of that. All right. Yeah, and the press reports today are that claiming the NSA report that was leaked by this 25-year-old woman. gathering in an evil world of ISIS and radical Islamists. We need to gather intelligence. When intelligence gathering becomes weaponized against American citizens and their Fourth Amendment constitutional rights and the right to, you're literally targeting an opposition party campaign and surveilling them under the guise of national security gathering and under the guise of doing it for national security purposes, and the same with the Trump transition team, and then you're unmasking at a rate in an election cycle at 350% higher than you did before. This gets very alarming. And then when you start leaking intelligence, which is a felony and a violation of federal law, then that's even a bigger deal. But anyway, it was, this girl, Winter, was who served in the Air Force and from 2010 to 2016, found her way to a job as a contractor at an NSA facility in Georgia, and a cryptologist, language analyst, I guess is what they call this, for the Air Force. She was fluent in languages of Afghanistan. She was arrested in her home for leaking a document about Russian hacking and the U.S. electoral system, but is not as it has been presented to the American public. Now, it's not really just her age. It's how can you be so political and be in this position? Because if you're that political and you're saying all these crazy things online, which she did, then that's a risk. And by the way, here's another piece of news that was actually picked up by Bloomberg and something I observed. Democrats are claiming that a top secret NSA file, the one that was released by this girl arrested, a Trump-hating security contractor, contains compelling evidence that Russia attempted to rig the actual vote counts in last year's election. And it bolsters the claims that Russia's meddling on President Trump's behalf was far deeper and more successful than previously acknowledged. In other words, we're right back to the same crap we've been hearing from unnamed sources, and the Washington Post getting it wrong on the Deputy Attorney General saying that he was about to quit. And then somebody interviewed him and said, never mind, that never happened. I never threatened to quit. Or that Comey, before he was fired, wanted more money for the Russia investigation. No, that didn't happen either. Or the fact that it's leaked by probably Comey or somebody close to him, that he has a memo that says Trump obstructed justice. The only problem is he said in May that he didn't, and he also would have committed a felony. But yet when those stories broke at 5:45, that 1 week every day, was blown up like this is the second coming of impeachment of Richard Nixon. Because the media is so, they're so obsessed with 2 scoops instead of 1 and sprinkles or no sprinkles on ice cream. And whether or not the president has a hand phobia or a ramp phobia or a stairs phobia. I've never heard such crap. And then you got CNN manufacturing, literally orchestrating a shoot to create an image. Anyway, according to Bloomberg, the leaked report, the Russian military intelligence, the GRU ran a spear phishing campaign, as I just said. Now, that spear phishing campaign targeted the employees of what is known as VR Systems, a voting hardware software producer, and one of its employees' accounts was apparently compromised. Okay. Then the hackers used the harvested credentials to trap local government officials in charge of organizing elections. And emails coming, credibly from a VR Systems employee contained malware that would have allowed Russian intelligence to control the computers of those local officials. The NSA doesn't seem to have determined at all, and as a matter of fact, they didn't, whether the hackers managed any of this stuff. But here's the reality, and Bloomberg points it out. Even if the allegedly Russia-affiliated hackers, in other words, it wasn't a malware fingerprint issue, got into the computers of the local officials in the states where VR Systems technology was used, guess what? Bloomberg, they could not have changed the election outcome. Results in the only states that use VR equipment and software, Florida, Illinois, Indiana, New York, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, were not challenged. They yielded no surprises compared with polling data. state. She's the minnow state of the deep state. She's not the great white of the deep state. And here go randomly, and I'd like to, and this, by the way, for those of you that are conspiracy theorists, this is not a I'm asking a question. I want to know the answer to this. I want to know how these people have intelligence clearances like this. I want to know issues like, why was Executive Order 12333 changed? I want to know why, at the end of Obama's administration, 17 agencies now had access to material he never wanted them to have during his years in office. I want to know, and I know 99% of those that work in the intelligence community are good. By the way, now you have Michael Moore launching Trumpy Leaks website for whistleblowers. Oh, is he encouraging law breaking? Of course, Michael wants other people to do it, so his fat ass doesn't have to end up in jail. Dad's Life, exclusive Father's
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
iHeartRadio lets you create your own custom artist station.
See this certificate from iHeartRadio.
Just type in the artist you love, and iHeartRadio creates a station just for you. With radio and unlimited music.
Yeah, that's cool.
iHeartRadio.
Wasn't bad.
Studios. WOOD Grand Rapids. WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
still backed up most of the way to Alger Street. Zeeland, bad crash still in the cleanup at the intersection of the Business Loop and State Street, 96th Avenue. Both westbound lanes blocked. Cram over to the far right turn lane. Westbound backs up to Homestead Drive. A lot of westbounders bail out, go through downtown Zeeland, which turns out to be 50-50. It is packed tight and a slow crawl through the city streets of downtown Zeeland for westbounders. Matt said both eastbound lanes open, but backed up because of the distraction. This report a service of Jimmy John.
I'm Storm Team 8 meteorologist Terry DeBoer, reminding you that we're tracking the weather for you around the clock. Listen for the Storm Team 8 forecast twice an hour, every hour on Wood Radio.
Our Wood traffic tip line, 776-5480 from the Subaru of Muskegon Traffic Center. Kevin Richards, traffic and weather together on the ones between mornings on News Radio, mid 1300 and 1069 FM.
Beautiful sunset this evening and mostly clear skies expected for the remainder of the night. It'll be dry with a low temperature ending up near 52. Tracking West Michigan's weather for News Radio Wood, 1300 and 1069 FM. I'm Storm Team 8 meteorologist Matt Kirkwood.
78 on the Lakeshore, 77 in Grand Rapids. Wood Radio News Time is 4:03. Former police chief in the village of Shelby will serve 5 months in jail. Robert Wilson charged with keeping the money from salvage vehicle inspections he conducted. 3 Michigan State University football players now charged in that alleged sexual assault of a woman this past winter. The players have been identified. Donnie Corley, Josh King, Dimitri Vance. They have been kicked off the team. Wood Radio News Time is 4:05.
Hey, it's Brett Bikita here again for my friends at CertaPro. You know, it's not too late to book your exterior or interior painting project with CertaPro. Refresh and renew this summer the look of your home or business. CertaPro does a fantastic job. They've painted rooms in my home, and I tell you, it's something I don't want to do. I'd rather be on the golf course or out by the lake. Plus, CertaPro is celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, and they invite you to experience the CertaPro difference.
You're going to be hanging out in here, so if you need anything, text me.
Owned and operated. So they're local, right here in West Michigan. CertaPro.
Do you play?
To set up an appointment for a free estimate.
Use the Chase mobile app to send money in just a tap to friends at more banks than ever before.
You got next?
Chase, helping you master what's now and what's next.
On an all-new Food Network Star, 12 finalists lay it all on the line.
Gloves are off, time to win.
But with great risk comes the greatest reward.
Chance to become a Food Network star.
So who's got it?
All new Food Network Star, Sunday night at 9.
More. 78 on the lake.
Information on breaking news and more bold, inspired solutions for America.
All right, hour 2, Sean Hannity Show, 2 top stories. Obviously, how is it possible that jihadis living next door could literally be on TV a year with the ISIS flag threatening their country, and then, of course, nobody arrests them? It's insane. And, of course, our top story is what we have been talking about today, and that is, all right, so this report that Russian intelligence agents hacked a U.S. voting system manufactured in the weeks leading up to a 2016 election, according to a brand new...
do not have a good sense of who has access, whether they really need that, how easy it may be for them to walk out of a document or email a document from a top-secret system. If the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, could be moving classified emails in her private email, you can imagine how loose things down from senior officials things may be, and I think we have a good episode. We're reporting right now that there's a new lawsuit out there from a former NSA contractor who says that James Comey has been covering up, and the FBI has been covering up civil liberties violations. But here's the most amazing thing about the man.
Amendment to the Constitution. But anyway, you saw these documents outside of the lawsuit.
We did.
That show the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington in 2015 approved a grant of limited immunity from Montgomery. Why don't you explain it yourself instead of me just saying it?
Sure. What it means is that, he could have theoretically been prosecuted, just like Edward Snowden may one day be prosecuted for improperly removing classified information from these government facilities. So his lawyer, Larry Klayman, arranged for him not to get prosecuted for that and to return the data. He says he took the data because he became concerned about the extent that the U.S. government was spying on Americans. Now, we interviewed him, and we did a lot of work over the last few weeks, not knowing this lawsuit was coming. We had just heard about him through different sources, and we corroborated that he had been interviewed by the FBI, that he turned over these hard drives, that in fact he was like another Edward Snowden that no one had ever heard of.
Yeah.
And now he comes forward and says that what I really knew about was extensive civil liberties violations, the very sort of stuff that you and I have been talking about for the last few weeks.
Let me go back to this woman that was arrested for just a second here. She's 25 years old, okay? She's part of a contracting operation. Okay. Understand security clearances are needed at different levels of it. Top security clearance. And
that if you're going
Wow,
to
look
now
at that.
allow the highest level of security clearance to all these other people, that there's a far greater likelihood of leaks, which we have seen, which, by the way, I would argue that 1.1% of deep state saboteurs, those that have abused intelligence gathering for political purposes, and I do believe it's a very tiny percentage, but a very powerful percentage, that they would want this type of chaos that has been created by them, wouldn't they?
Well, I will say this. Every one of the major leaks that have occurred, Bradley Manning, Edward Snowden, and now this woman today, all occurred at a very low level rank with very high level security clearance. And that ought to be disturbing to Americans, that we can't ensure security at that level, that we're giving it to people downstream. But, let's go backwards. If it was laissez-faire for Hillary Clinton at the highest levels of government, you must assume that it has to be laissez-faire downstream from her. And I think that until we get a handle on this, the government is going to continue to suffer lots more leaks, harming our national security.
I don't know if you read it, but if you look at this particular document that alleges the Russian GRU is and Kremlin interference, but if you actually look at it, the report does not claim that voting machines were hacked.
Yeah.
And by the way, we were told by James Clapper himself that no votes had been impacted.
Yep.
And, it's now, it's sort of like just the advancement of more conspiracy without evidence.
Yeah, and the question is, there's probably more harm to our ability to spy on the GRU going forward than anything this revelation could have provided to the public. And that is one of the problems with leaks now. People are leaking just because
Thanks, guys. Now roll over and give me 25 push-ups. 1, 2, good. Hey, keep that caboose down.
You see, no matter who or what he trains, Kyle knows how to get results. But when it comes to mortgages, he's less confident.
Guilty.
Fortunately for Kyle, there's Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. It's simple, so he can understand the details and know he's getting the right mortgage.
I like it, people. Who wants a treat?
Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. Go to rocketmortgage.com today.
Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Welcome to the greatest men's club in the world. It's not a country club, it's a grilling club. As a matter of fact, it's kind of caveman. When you want to find the center of the grilling universe, you look at a map of North America and just look for that big grilling mitt. That's where we're at. It's the Grilling Guys. Peace, love, and barbecue.
Get grilling. Listen to the Grilling Guys, Bob and Chop, 7 p.m. Sunday on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Dave here to talk about your largest investment, your home, and how to protect it with a good roof from Premier Roofing. My first choice for any of your roofing needs is Premier Roofing and Exteriors. These guys are a no-nonsense company, and they value your time and business. Don't pay stupid tax. Call Premier Roofing and Exteriors at 534-7680 for a free quote today. 534-7680 or at exteriorsbypremier.com.